First, I'll thank everybody for coming on to the chat, and I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys, we do have next month is going to be on branding time, so I hope we'll see you back next month. It will be on a Tuesday. And if you guys ever have any other subjects you want to talk about, please drop me a line or text or email and let me know. And I'm going to turn it over to the experts, Larry and Matt.
Okay.
Larry, go for it.
All right. I'll go. This is an unscripted, period of time. Somebody asked me what I was doing tonight, and I told them that I was acting like a college professor and I was holding office hours. Okay. And so this is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions and get stuff figured out. Provide a little feedback if we'll take that. We'll always take feedback. So let's do the easy things first. Is there anybody out there that's having trouble signing on to the hub? Donna, you're shaking your head yes. Is that right?
Well, it's not me, but it's a couple people in my club.
Okay.
So one of them's on here, so maybe you want to start there.
Yeah, well, what we were going to do there was just because it involves security and passwords, we're going to use a breakout room. That's why I asked for names, and I was just going to have somebody follow me or follow Matt over into a breakout room, and we'll get you set up. We can share screens, and then the rest of the world won't see your password, which is a good thing. So I'll ask again, anybody out there that's having trouble that needs to move to a breakout room to fix their sign on?
Can you hear me right now?
I can. Denise?
Sue Hurst.
Sue.
Okay.
Hi, Sue.
Good. I have a new computer. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it.
Okay.
I haven't even been into the hub yet, so.
Okay. Well, that'll work. Matt,
right,
do you want to take her?
Yeah, I'll do that. So if you look down there at the bottom where it says breakout rooms, if you will find one that says, there's a drop down that says Matt, and you can click join on that. Do you see that?
Mhm.
Go ahead and hit join, and I'll see you in there.
Okay, so we're going to lose Matt and Sue for a while. They'll be back. Okay. Anyone else having issues out there signing on? If not, if they are, when Matt comes back, we'll do the same thing there.
So Larry, Sue is having troubles, but we're still in our chapter board meeting, so I'll just have her probably get with one of you guys later.
Yeah. Okay. It's just we can reset passwords and send them out. That's not hard. We just have to know who to do it. I don't want to do it if somebody has finally gotten in. I don't want to reset their password on them. So that's why I like to have a conversation first. Okay. Then since it's office hours, I'm at my desk. Who's got questions?
I do.
Go ahead,
So
Steve.
I'm signed in on my computer.
Okay.
And I have no idea what my password is, but it's saved on there, so it doesn't matter.
That's good enough.
And,
that's even better, actually.
Yeah, and then if I have to change it at some point, I know how to do that. I screw up passwords enough times. So if I don't know if this even qualifies, but a group of friends of mine and I from the Y went to watch adaptive water skiing last Friday. Is that something we can post on here somewhere? And where do I put it? Or where do I put any kind of volunteer activity?
Well, if you just went to watch, I wouldn't consider it an activity that but it is interesting. So let me pull up let me share a screen. Just because then let me do that. Hang on a second. There we go. Here's my homepage.
Okay.
And so this should look like everybody should look similar to this. You might not have some stuff over here on the left. Oops, give me a second here. I'm gonna get these windows back. When I shared screen, everybody jumped around on me. There we go. That's better. So this is my homepage. For those that don't know, I'm a member of two chapters, Corn Belt and iHope. And I have the two pages open here. Here's the iHope page and the Corn Belt page. And the reason I open them both is because I'm an administrator in one. I'm actually a pretty good test case and a pretty good example. I'm an administrator in one, and I'm just a regular Joe Ambuck in the other. And so you'll see some differences in the 2 pages. So, so Steve, I'm assuming you're an administrator in your chapter, right?
I don't know, probably.
I would,
I mean, I've been secretary since 1986.
Then
so
you
I
are.
guess So,
you are.
yeah.
Okay, so you should have these, your screen should look kind of like this. And when we get over to the activity page, oh, by the way, no one else will have activity
So-
2. That's a new project I'm working on. But that's just
Okay.
me. Nobody
So
else will
let,
have that.
oh, there we go. Okay. So I just got to Walker. And,
go.
yeah, we have about us, 20 members, 5 life members, 7 big hats, yada, yada, yada. Says when we're meeting. We have 3 open invoices that I don't know what in the world those are from. Membership dues, new member fee,
Just pay them.
and
Just
pay 'em.
send money.
yeah. I'm not in charge of that. That's not my
Okay,
department.
well, that's right.
But I will get a hold of Leonard and, yeah.
Okay. So when you were asking about recording activities, and so so on the activity tab, this page is broken up in 3 sections. There's mission activities, and these are the things that, good stuff that we do for other people, right? They live up here. And then there's
Is he there yet, Steve? I think he's still on his first page.
No, I'm still on the first page and I click
alright.
on activity and I get nowhere. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So this shows all the Amtrakes that we have given.
right. And that's where it starts. But if you
okay.
click on, you can, everything
Community
else,
service.
events, financial assistance, you can see other, each is a different tab for each of the different types of activities.
Okay. So here we go. We have planning and attending Red, Whites, and Brews fundraiser for Indian Trails Camp. We had 4 volunteers that gave 3 hours of service, 25 total hours.
So that's down here in your volunteering tab.
No, this is under community service.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, there's a couple ways to look at. Yeah, okay. That's probably a better place. Yeah, I'm going to click on it. I don't know that we have any here in I-Hope, not yet. At least this year. Whoops.
Okay.
Wrong place. There we go. Yeah. So, and so the event you did the other day, was that a community service event, or was that just something you guys went out and did together?
It was just some of us. I mean, I was the only AMBUC involved, but it was was interesting because we've done bikes for the rest of us at Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital for years and years, and the gal, excuse me, I'm just getting over COVID. The gal who was in charge of bikes for the rest of us was there, and so it was, I mean, it was just yeah. So I didn't know if that was something. I mean, that we could put in. So apparently not. That's not really our deal. It's just
right. Rule of thumb for I'll say, I won't say longtime members like you. If you predate the hub or go back to pre-hub, is that something you would have recorded on a scorecard? And the answer is probably not.
Okay.
And so if it's not on a scorecard, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, that's a pretty
Gotcha.
decent rule of thumb to use when you want to make a decision.
And I have done a scorecard or 2 in my time.
I'll bet. I don't miss it, by the way.
No.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have 2 questions.
Go ahead, Betty.
Well, first, are we still recording friends? And if so, where?
Okay, that's that came up. You actually can't see your friends in the hub right now, and that's a to-do that I've got. They would appear in the blue chip reports, but you can't see their names, and that's so I have to add a query someplace to do that. I have some folks here have seen it. I have a spreadsheet that's got, I don't know, got 100 items on it. That's one of the 100 right now of things to do. So yeah, if over in the on the national reports tab, I'm going to go there real quick, and under the membership reports, this is basically replacing what used to be the blue chip. So just so everybody knows, I was under the chapter. I went to the National Reports tab. I clicked on membership, and there's some high-level membership stuff, and then these are the chapter membership reports for each of the chapters. But somewhere in here is a Friends membership report in the drop down. And so right now we only have 5 chapters with Friends. Okay.
How do we find the friends?
Oh, you can't yet. And that's
Okay,
a
okay,
um,
okay,
that's a thing for me to add someplace.
okay.
We haven't figured out where, and I haven't taken the time to. We haven't gotten there yet. But
So
I have another question.
they need to be here probably somewhere close to the roster, but they're not there yet.
So why can't I do anything when I click on Walker? Why can't it doesn't do anything?
When you click on Walker,
Yeah, you go under, I'm on National Reports. I go down to-
well, that's because sorry, now I understand your question better.
Yeah, I go down to Mid-States and I see Walker, and it
Yeah.
shows we have 5 points. Well, we should have a hell of a lot more than 5 points.
Maybe not. We haven't reached the end of the quarter yet. Some stuff doesn't get counted. That doesn't, so you might not see points to kick in on some things for another few days.
You're looking
Yeah,
at
but
the membership report or your
I'm
activity
looking at
points?
National Report, Activity Score Report,
Okay,
Okay.
and it shows 5. And I mean, you know, I mean, we're pretty active. I think we fill out all our stuff pretty much. And just looking at some of these other chapters, I can't believe that we only have 5 when, I don't want
I
to pick
think
on
it
any
just means,
names, but
Steve, that nobody's putting them in.
Yeah, that would be my my take. I can
so where are we supposed to put these in, Larry?
well, it depends on what it is. So if back to the activity page.
Activity reports?
No, activity reports is a display only. So if you've given away Amtrakes, you would record it under Amtrakes. If you had a community service project, it would go into community service. If you held a party or an event or a golf outing or whatever, that's an event. And so each of these tabs on here under the mission activities and down under the chapter administration activities are basically lifts off the old scorecard. Okay. So I'm just gonna grab visibility because it also gives me an opportunity to talk about some other stuff. This is the, again, I'm in iHope, so we've done a bunch of Facebook stuff over time. But if I'm going to click on the little plus, this is where you add things. So I'm looking at visibility to add a visibility item, right? And then there's, what did we do? Was it a billboard, a radio ad, online like Facebook, proclamate, all the good things that we used to give points for, right? And you just record them in here. And as you do that, they'll kick in. So I'm going to jump to another screen real quick, and I'm going to type Walker here. And so the only thing that's been recorded for Walker so far this quarter is the newsletters. The other activities aren't in yet. I would assume if you went to so if you go to this activity page, I would expect all these to be empty. Empty as far as dating in, with dates in the new year since June 1st.
Okay.
So which takes me to a plug, by the way. What I've been telling people about recording, if you make recording an extra activity, something new that we've never done before, right? And you're treated kind of like you used to treat your scorecard. You make the president do it at the end of the quarter. Things don't get entered and they get missed. What I tell people is that take a computer to your board meeting, because you discuss every activity. You discuss every Amtrak, every community service project, every piece of money you give, every dollar amount that you give away. You're discussing them in the board meeting. As you're discussing them, just type them in. And then you don't have to do anything special, and you don't have to go back at the end of the quarter and follow up and say, did we do this or did we do that? That was one of the things that I disliked about scorecard was running around at the end of the quarter when I was president, trying to track everything down. And if you're just doing it as you go, make it part of the process. And you never caught up. You're never caught behind. Sorry. You're always caught up. So that's just a little plug as a good way to treat that. And you got a secretary or somebody in the meeting with a laptop, and they go away. And and remember, or if you don't, you can enter stuff in the future. So if you're going to hold an event in September on the 15th, go ahead and put it in there now. You don't have to wait for that event to occur. Put it in there on the 15th. And when the 15th rolls around, you'll get credit for it. You don't have to go back and do everything in arrears. So as you're planning things, put them in there.
So I have a couple of questions.
Who is that? Sorry.
That's Charles.
Hi, Charlie. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? Well, question number one is, and I hadn't planned to ask this one, but when you say you enter in the visibility area, you put in Facebook. So what does that mean? That we post something to our Facebook page? Is that all that indicates?
Yep, it's an online activity.
Really?
It's visibility. When you're posting on Facebook,
Right.
That's good stuff.
That's good to know, because we put quite a bit on our Facebook page, but
Right.
I don't think anyone is trying to record that.
Oh,
So the next thing is the comment, because I think Steve asked about it. Greenbucks is one that has Friends members that show up, and they show up at the bottom of our roster, just a second below our roster. If you wanted to know, that's where ours are.
Oh, you know what? We don't have any. It's been so long since I looked. Huh.
We have two.
Do they show up on your roster when you go there?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if they were showing up, it would, like I said, it would be a separate section at the right at the bottom of your roster. There would just be a section that say Friends members. That's what ours says anyway.
Okay.
So
that's good to know. Give me a minute here. I will come back and look at that later. If we get, I don't want to hijack the meeting. I can go look at the page. It's possible that I built it and I don't remember doing it, and I haven't seen it. You can hide things when there are no results, and so it may be hidden because I don't have any. I'll have to go back and look.
But we don't. Do we get any points for Friends?
Yeah,
we do. Okay.
Yes. You get what I believe it's. Hang on. Now
we used to. I know.
Yes, no, you still do. Let me go back to activity, and you can answer questions like that on your own. Down at the bottom of this are descriptions, and what we. Oh, but these are just for the activities. Sorry. Oh, no, I know where it's at. It's been so long, sorry, since I've seen some of this stuff. Under the national reports, under membership. Hello. Under membership, there's a, no, it's not here. Sorry, it's not under membership, it's under scores. Ooh, I don't have it here.
Can I interrupt a minute? We have
Go ahead.
We have a couple of members that need to get in the chat room with Matt to help them with logging in. Larry Sang and Jessica. So
yeah, wait till they're done with, or is he?
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with Sue. So if folks want to join me in the breakout room that's titled Matt, I will help you guys with getting in there. Okay, and you can get to that by looking at the bottom along the bottom of the Zoom screen and look for breakout rooms. And when you bring that out, scroll down and look for one that says Matt, and just click on join.
Larry Sang says Jessica got on hers resolved, but he may still need it.
Okay, I see Larry in there. I'm jumping in there to help Larry Sang.
Okay,
Send
thank you.
anybody else my way, please.
Larry, I have a question or a comment.
Oh, Donna, give me 1 second. Let me finish that other one up. We have a query, and unfortunately, I don't have it on here. Oh, unless it's hiding under scoring. There it is. I knew it was here somewhere.
No
Okay.
caller.
Under the scoring tab in the drop downs, there's a thing called scoring components. If you click on scoring components, this will tell you all of the different ways that you can earn points. Okay, I knew it was here someplace. Okay, and then and you can tell things like financial assistance and community service project are broken by quarters. Most other stuff isn't, so you can see what's in here. So you have a question about what something might be worth, you can come here. Now you asked a question about friends. There better be something here for friends.
Should be, I think, 2 points per friend or friend renewal.
There
Yeah.
it is, right there. Okay, 2 points for each new friends renewal.
Hmm.
So you can see, you can answer questions like that here. Okay, it's also not a bad place to come shopping for points every once in a while and go, oh, we should have done that, or we could have done that.
Hey, Larry, if do you have to put those in, or does that automatically get counted from national?
Those are automatic. Those are automatic. You used to have to do some of that stuff. Everything that we know at national, like your roster and your growth and all that stuff, you don't enter that. You enter your activities, all that other behind the scenes stuff, we know. Okay, which is why, so it mentions friends here, but on the bottom of the activity page, on the bottom, you know what, let me put this one so I don't have to jump back and forth. On the bottom of the activity page, it tells you about the things that, sorry, you got to be an administrator to see it. My bad. It tells you about the things that you have control over. We've got the rest we just figure out. Okay.
Larry,
So-
can you tell me what a friend is defined as?
Oh, a friend is interestingly enough, the Friends membership fee is $25, just like the national fee, but a friend doesn't pay chapter or regional dues. A friend also has a 1 year membership that starts on whatever day you pay the $25. Unlike your membership, really kind of, Ambucks is the only organization I've ever been a part of and that I can ever find where you're a member for a while, and after you've been a member, you pay dues for having been a member. Membership is always paid in arrears for real members. It's quirky that way, but it works. But friends are not that way. Friends are more traditional, like just every other subscription I've ever been a part of. You pay up front and then you're a member for a year. They get the magazine plus whatever you choose to do for them locally.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Now I cut somebody out. I think, was it Donna earlier? Yeah. Donna.
Well, one of my little complaints about friends is I don't know what happened at national at some point, but we used to have 3 friends all the time, and they stopped getting their annual notice to be a friend. I've had all 3 of them tell me I don't get my Ambucks friend membership anymore, but that's not your problem here today. That's something I need to solve.
Okay. Well, interestingly enough, one of the things on my list is the automation of expiration of friends to reach out automatically through the system and send it out.
Okay, so that's something that's in, how do we get them back into that flow then?
Well, you'll have to submit new paperwork for them as a new friend. I assume Jessica around someplace, but I assume that would be the answer. She may be off helping somebody, but if you know who they are, I would treat them like new memberships and submit it. And by the time they expire in 12 months, you'll get an automatic notification.
Okay.
What's chapter, by the way?
Kazoo Valley.
Thank you.
The other issue I have with the page is when I have my hub open, you can't see everything over on the right. You gotta move your little scroll
Right.
bar
And
across.
what kind of device are you looking at?
Well,
you
right
got a
now, I've got yours up. I don't have mine up. But when I open up my hub on one of my tabs on either my desktop computer or my laptop computer, of course, I can't see the whole thing now because it's your page.
Right.
I have to scroll across with my scroll bar to see the whole line.
Are you talking about in the activities?
Yes.
Yes, that's true. You're right. In the activities, you do. Just because there's just so much data. Okay. And it depends on the event. Amtrak's is a very large one. There's a couple ways to do that, by the way. You can click in there and use your cursor. I'm using my cursor or not my cursor, sorry. The left and right arrow keys will speed that process up.
Yeah.
You can also use the bar at the bottom, but that's I prefer the arrows. And that's the way it is today. And unfortunately, you have to do today to get to the edit and the delete. You have to do that. So
I just wondered if I was all mixed up on because of course when you get to the right, when you scroll across to the right, then you don't know whose line you're on from the left.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, Donna, for asking this question. So, what you're about to get sometime in the next few weeks is we're going to replace activity with what I've got is activity 2 on mine. So this is a sneak peek into what's coming. Okay. It's very similar. I'm up under here under Amtrak's. Okay. But how do I want to say this here? Notice that it says edit and delete over here on the left now. Okay. So we use some out of the box stuff, and it's got some quirks that we don't like the controls, the edit and the delete control are way over in the right on the long lines. And so we're building our own, okay, which is what's taking some time. But now edit and delete are up here on the left side, and you can tell what line you're on if you want to act on it. You only need to go to the right to see the stuff that's actually hidden over on the right. Okay. The other thing that's going on is notice that if you remember, there was a big long list of Amtrak's because we've given away, I don't know how many over the last couple of years. Right now, the current list is only got these 4. And if you look at these dates, these 4 are bikes in the future. And it appears that all of my Amtrak's are gone. What we've got now is active, and those are things that are during the current year or since the beginning of the current year. So it's anything we've done this year plus stuff that's in the future. Now, we don't have any activity yet this year, at least we haven't recorded it. And instead, we've got a second tab under Amtrak's, which is archive, which is our full history. So this, and then you get, because it can get really big, and it's going to get big over time, you can filter it by date. I won't. Press find with no values to see the whole list. And so I'm going to do that. And there's our list that looks just like what we had earlier, except the controls are over here on the left side. So sometime in the next few weeks, you'll see the activity page get replaced with a new look. Okay, so that where the controls are over here on the left, you'll have the current year only and everything on a separate tab. We had 2 people come up to me at conference, and one said, I hope things never go away. I always want to see all my stuff. And I agree with that. And I had 2 other people come to me and say, hey, last year is over. It's history. I don't want to see that stuff anymore. I only want to know about the active stuff. And so
are we still going to,
that was to give us 2 tabs.
Larry, are we going to still be able to export those? I don't see an export button.
You're right. You don't see an export button. And the reason is when you and the answer, Donna, is yes, but let me tell you why it looks the way it is. To export these, go to activity reports. Okay. And the reason I do that is because if I export this, these edit and delete controls pop up and they make your spreadsheet look funky and act weird. Okay. So if you want to export it, you have to come over to activity reports, which, by the way, is the way it always was. You could never export them directly from the activity page anyhow. when you're under the old controls. There was no, again, in here, there was no export. That's the reason the activity reports page is there in the to begin with. So that if you want to print some stuff out, head over to activity reports. Activity reports doesn't have any filters on it. You can filter it once you put it in the spreadsheet. That's easy enough to do for most folks.
Larry, on the chat, Terry had mentioned she's hoping Big Hat gets its place on the hub soon. I was going to ask Terry maybe if she had some specifics about that, but I also thought that might be a good time to talk about the new communities that we are rolling out also, which are places for where the Big Hat can actually transact some business and things.
Yeah, things are just hard to find on the hub. Just the Big Hat is one of them.
Well, Big Hat's not on the hub. There is no Big Hat presence on the hub other than
that's not a good thing.
Well, but the question is, what do you want on the hub? What do you want from Big Hat? Keep in mind that this is a view into a membership system. Okay.
That's exactly it. Yes, I want to know what members are Big Hats, and I want to know who the Big Hat presidents are for each of the clubs. Because when I was running this year for National Big Hat Secretary Treasurer, I could find nothing on the hub to use to contact people.
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about that for a little bit. This is a current chapter roster for IHO, and oh, it's right. Gosh, that's why I can't find it. It's right here. I just wasn't paying attention. When I look at my roster, I know I'm a Big Hat. It says it right here. So on the other, let me see it. I don't remember. So
we have your other officers, but we don't have a Big Hat officer.
So on the current, when you look at a chapter, if you find their chapter roster, it's flagged as who the Big Hatters are. And this should be true for any chapter that you can find. Okay, let me prove that. I'm going to open up another one over here.
Is that as an admin or just as a person?
Just as a person. I'm just going to look at. I want to make sure I get somebody that's got. Well, it doesn't matter.
You can look at Edmund. I mean,
you can go to Charity Angels too.
Yeah.
That's fine, and we'll look at the roster.
Well, you can go to Walker. We have 5 Big Hatters, but it doesn't show.
There we go.
President.
I'm looking up Matt. So Matt. So there we go. So yeah, any roster that the chapter, you can see the list of who the Big Hatters are. Now you can't tell who their Big Hat officer is unless they have gone in and put that position in the system for the chapter, which they can do. Okay, so it's going to be hit or miss on the chapters. Some people will put it in and some haven't. Okay,
there you go. It's right there.
Sense?
Yep.
Hey Larry, this is Gordon. I have a question on districts.
Yeah.
I've had 3 district governors in Great Plains region that cannot access their chapters within their districts. They have to go all the way up to the top, hit chapter, and then scroll through all 152 until they find the chapter. You know, like Great Plains region, for me, it lists all 28 chapters in Great Plains region under mine. Could districts have a tab like that also?
Like this right here, like we do for the region.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, they could. It's on my list, and I just haven't built it. So how's that?
Awesome.
But it is on the list. By the way, I am not a regional director officially, but in the system, I have made myself a regional director so that I can see all these goodies and make sure that it's working. I'm the central region. I'm the second central region director as far as the system is concerned, at least today. Sometimes I'm not, but that comes and goes depending on what I'm working on. Yeah, we can. I have a plan. My plan is basically to do this for districts for the DGs, and they'll be able to link off and get there.
Larry, I've had a couple of I'm trying to monitor the chat. There's been a couple of things. One, and I answered William, but I'll say this on here too. William had a question because he has duplicate members on his roster, and the same person's showing up twice. I've had that. I've seen that with a couple Yeah, it's a glitch, and I don't know why. It was on mine. I've gotten my chapter fixed, and another chapter had the same issue. And what it was is somehow in IMIS, they had two different sponsors under them. And I can tell you that with my chapter, I didn't even know who the person was that had the second sponsor. And since there were two sponsors, it was making it. So Janice had to go in and remove the wrong sponsor. And then once she did, it corrected it. So I'm guessing, so I don't know if you can, I don't know what chapter William's at, but if you could go look at his roster and maybe help him after the meeting, clear up, fix that.
So do we know that?
Oh, Corn Belt. And he said, yes, I saw
Bill?
different sponsors. Yeah.
We got Corn Belt right here. Who's doubled up? Bill's my president. I don't see any dupes, Bill. Bill, you there? Hello, Bill. I saw him join the meeting.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, who's duplicated in the list?
Well, and actually, so I don't know what list you're looking at, but I go to my roster.
Oh.
And I don't see, it looks
Okay,
different
no.
to me. I'm not.
It is because you're an administrator in Corn Belt and I'm not. And so your list will be formatted more like this.
Yeah, so there, like I see you.
And she's right about the sponsor. I'll take care of that, Bill. I'll fix that.
Okay. All right.
I'll have to make myself administrator. I'll see the screen. I'll know who it is. And
There's probably other chapters out there because it happened
it is,
on
by the way?
noon.
It happened at Kazoo Valley.
Greenbucks has the same issue with our roster. We have multiples on some of our members. And we also have two treasurers. It's the same person in our officers roster. We have duplicate treasurers.
Well, that is something you guys can fix.
How? Because I have I have entered the president, the
Delete one
same
of the rows.
person twice.
Just delete one of the rows is all you gotta do. Or end date one of the rows and so that the dates don't overlap. If he's on there twice, you've got two rows. They may look the same. Somehow they got entered twice. Just delete one of those. Is the simplest way to do that. The members with two sponsors, by the way, I'm scribbling a note, so give me a second.
I think it's an IMIS glitch because like the one person in my chapter, I recruited her. So I was the sponsor, so I knew I was correct. But the other name on there was somebody that had never been a member of Charity Angels. It was somebody that had been a member 30 years ago with the first female chapter.
Yeah.
So
Donna, that's Panka? Or is that right?
It was Charity Angels that I've got it fixed. Janice fixed it for me.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then Punk City Noon had it, and Dave, my husband, said it admit on there, so I got his fixed. But if Bill had it and Charles had it,
let me explain that.
Okay.
So if we go to officers, so I'm going to take you to officers, and here it says manage chapter officers. And so this is my list, and I hope it's a pretty small chapter, short list. And this is what comes up. And then this is, so if you want to add a new person, okay. So let's see. My wife is a member in this chapter and she's not there now. So let's assume I was going to add my wife, Lori Torelli. What happens sometimes, and by the way, this is also on our list. We've got some bunch of stuff worked out. To do. This will happen. Hopefully we get this as a Christmas present. What I should do is search on Torelli for Lori. Okay. And there's two. And then I want to add Lori. I should click on her name. But instead of doing that, if somebody clicks add new, and this is add new, it literally adds a new person. Okay. Oh, and I know why it's because I got too much stuff open. You'll get the ability to type in a new name, and you'll type in Lori Torelli, and all of a sudden there's two Lori Torellis in the system. One of them is the new one, who's not the real Lori, is an officer. And then you go back in and you do it right. You add the real Lori, and what happens is we've got two Loris in the system, both of which are officers in your chapter. If you click that little green add new, instead of clicking on the name. And what Janice does, by the way, when you call her and then point that out, you can merge the two records. It puts the two of them back together. And then there's only one of them. Okay.
Well, in my case, it wasn't an officer. It was just, well, in both of them, it was just a member. There were two members listed, and each member had a different sponsor.
No,
and
if
she
you
went in
look-
and they,
Yeah, no, the way the query works is only supposed to be one sponsor. And this is database GORP, but if there's two sponsors, it'll create two rows. The rows will be identical and it'll show you both sponsors. That's all. So there
Right.
should only be one. So what I scribbled, okay, my note down here is we have a bunch of queries that we call data integrity queries. We go looking for trouble. I can write a query and identify members that have two sponsors, and then we can go clean them up.
oh, good.
Okay.
Awesome. That's great.
So-
Okay. Another question was, can you show them how to put in that they went to regional and national conference and education?
Okay, so that's something you did. So it's an activity. So if you go to conference, it's an activity. So let's get over to activities. And way down here at the bottom, district, region, national events. You went to a national event. And so that's what we've got right here. And that happens to be the default tab down here in the member activities. And so I went to regional conference last year in April, right? And I don't have this year's activity, but I could, what date was conference, guys? Somebody help me out. Was it the 4th?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was ran several
second through
days.
fifth.
Yeah.
It's one of those days, right? I was.
How come when I click on activity, I don't go anywhere? It just
may
shows
already be-
Ambux mission activities.
You may already be there.
Scroll down to the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
Go where, Donna?
Scroll down to the bottom of your page.
Okay. Chapter member activities. I
There you
got you.
go.
Okay. Yep. District, national, regional, national events.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Okay.
And it's a region or national. So there you go. So I'm entering my own attendance at conference last year. I pick a date, my name. I went to a couple ed sessions. I think 2 was the answer. It was a national, not a regional or a. It was it was a national organization that held it, and it was a conference. But don't forget to click this because this is what's going to get you your scorecard points. Okay, that little checkbox. And then I'm going to save and close, and we should have a new line pop up here with my name. There it is. A new line popped up. I went to conference. That's it. That's how you add.
Jessica had asked about editing, adding and changing officers in the hub. I'm gonna go into the breakout room for that if anybody else wants to join for that. Jessica, if you'll look at the breakout room, I'll meet you in there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, so we're getting ready to rework that. We're basically going to build our own screens. There won't be an add new button on it. You will only be, and interestingly enough, Donna, if you really wanted to, you could find me and add me as an officer in your chapter, which shouldn't really be allowed.
Right.
And we're going to change the search. There actually won't be a search. We're just going to pop up the chapter roster. You go find the person in your chapter, click on their name, and then add them from there. That's so I've got some of that built.
I like the search. I've been able to find out what chapters certain people are in when I'm trying to find people.
Oh, that's a nice feed. I hadn't thought about using it that way, but that works.
I can see why.
By the way, you asked about searching on names, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to deliver that. In an email you sent me a couple days ago.
Oh, yep.
The search that you're just talking
Well, yeah, and Karen sent me an Excel spreadsheet today, so I'm good.
about. Okay. Oh, all right. And that's generally the best way to go. But
yeah.
But I don't like the fact that you had to bother Karen. So not that in this case you needed to, but
yeah.
The goal here, in case you guys haven't figured it out, is to if we can do something or you can do something in the hub and not use ARC time, that's the goal. Let them do what we hired them to do, and that's go run a nonprofit rather than just, I don't want to say, deal with with minutia related to membership, but I like Jessica thinking about higher level stuff.
Hey Larry, we got
Yeah.
a question about whether or not the website's font can be changed. I know most of that
Ooh.
is probably IMIS based.
Well, yeah, everything is possible. What doesn't somebody like, and what would they like to see it as? And then we can discuss. You know, again, this is more website gore, but there's things called style sheets, and we're working inside style sheets. We could change the style sheet.
She's mentioned specifically the numbers, so I'm gonna assume it's the text that's within the tables,
I've
but
seen
I might be wrong.
Well, there's a good example right here. That little 2, I don't like it either. And we see that sometimes on some of these, and I don't know. I have to look.
The font is too light as well.
Oh, down here, bolder would be better.
That's yes.
I'll throw it on my list.
Can you manipulate that? I didn't think that you could.
You should be able to.
All things are possible.
Okay.
Doesn't mean all things are easy. Okay. And the thing about it, again, you're talking style sheets. So if I find this one and I change it here, it'll change that. Everywhere else on the site, the font is used. And so we have to be a little cautious, I guess. That doesn't mean we can't do it. It also might be something I pass off to somebody else, because frankly, that's not my strong suit. Let me scribble this though before we're on. Especially cool. Who is that? Or was I the only one that heard it?
It's me. I'm texting with someone and they answered back.
Okay.
Donna, I'm so I'm still trying to recover from that Zoom that got hacked. So I had a moment of we've been breached.
Oh.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think what would have been, I don't know how you can do it, but with this setup that you have where you're sharing your screen, we can't see all the way to the left. So when you were talking about things that were on the left, we can't see it because the picture box overrides and cuts off over here. Yeah.
So
yeah, it would and so I think some of the questions could have been answered by being able to see the whole thing. Yeah, and that's just a technical.
It may be you may be able to change your view where you
I did that.
Where you hide the faces and see my screen. I forgot. Are you on an iPad or you're on a real computer, right?
No, yeah, I'm on full screen. I'm on 100%.
And can you see my whole screen right now? There should be a bunch of white really on either side.
No, I can only see the white on the left.
No kidding.
And so the rest of it is off there somewhere in the Never Land because the pictures override, even though I'm trying to get.
Here, let's try this.
There.
I can
there. I
minimize
the pictures, but
yeah.
Yeah.
This really doesn't change the look too much. You get to look at my calendar and my picture of Portugal, but that's
that's working. That works better right there.
And we can work in this because it's the same size. Okay.
It's just super small for the rest of us, though.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I'm well, the fonts shouldn't have. Oh, you know what? I can do this. Do a little Control Plus, increase the font. Everybody knows that trick, right? Somebody was talking about, small fonts. You can always just hit the Control Plus key and make things bigger at least on a real computer on a PC. and you can go, you know, control plus, you can make it gigantic, and control 0 resets it. And then control minus, you can actually shrink it the other direction. Not that that's readable, but the control and then the 0 plus minus is a way to play with some of that without having to, you know, well, that's the way you do that. Just real quick. And I don't know how that works on other devices, on phones and on and iPads, but on a computer, it works great.
Thanks, that was helpful.
Okay. Anything else?
So did you just say anything else, Larry?
I did. Yeah. If you have an else, go for it.
So I'm on the Ambucks Mission Activities scholarships. Because I happen to be on the scholarship committee.
All right, I'll go there.
So for Walker, I mean, it shows people given scholarships on May 15th, May 15th of 2023. Do those automatically get put in, or is that something we have to put in ourselves?
No, that's something you guys have to put in.
Okay.
You have to add them. And so if they're there, somebody in your chapter did it. By the way, if you want to know who did it,
yeah,
you click on the little pencil.
Yep.
Oh, darn it. Never mind. That's who did it, but that's their buried key under the covers. It doesn't give you their name. And I can't make it do that right.
I have a question on that, Larry. Since it was dated May, but I saw that they clicked off national sponsored. Did that give them points last year?
Yeah.
Or are these their current?
No,
their Steve, do you know, are these your current?
That gave them points last year because they were sponsored last year, even though we did the awards this year.
They just didn't enter them. They just didn't enter them till May. Okay.
Right.
It's fine.
Well, in that, they entered these.
But when were the scholarships awarded? That wasn't until after convention, wasn't it?
No, you're right. That's when they were awarded. But remember, the scholarship application period and all that stuff is open during the last year. So you sponsor them last year, right? And
okay. So do I need to go through and put the ones that we have been awarded for this year? Do I need to put those in there now?
Well,
yes.
If you want to keep them, yeah, it's too late to get points, but the answer would be yes.
No, I mean for 2023-24.
Oh, you already know who you're going to sponsor next fall?
Well, they sent out an email that who the scholarship applicant or who the scholarship rewards were.
Larry, they didn't. Larry, they didn't finish up the scholarships until after national or right before national until this year.
You're absolutely right. But so now we're talking about two different things. Okay, so I'll try to. Your sponsorship of a student didn't occur when the award was made in June. Your sponsorship of that student occurred sometime between February and May, when the scholarship application period was open.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what we award points for. You don't get extra points if National gives them money.
Okay.
Right.
So why is there even a check mark for National? Just
Well,
so we, just for us.
You get points for sponsoring them. You don't get extra points if National gives them money.
Okay.
And so you sponsored them last year. I sponsored these two students. I was our scholarship chair this year. I sponsored those two students on May 10th. Okay. And that's why we should, whatever it is, 5 points apiece, I think.
Okay.
For doing that.
And we
so
put
going
So
back and clicking that they
sponsored
were
10. We sponsored 10. So is there a way for me to see that I got points for those?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to go back to scoring. And I'm going to underscoring. So this, remember this drop down, and what I had up there was a list of all components. If I go to chapter score detail, it's going to be empty because we haven't done anything this year. Okay. But the other thing that, so these three things up top, this is current year, but there's an archive. If you want to know what you did last year, you can click on that. That's chapter scores. So last year we had 268 points. And in this component detail, that's how we got our 268 points. So the answer is yes, you can see what you did last year and where you earned points.
Okay. Oh, component detail. Okay, gotcha.
So the component detail, that's probably a little, we call them components. Each of the little things is a component of the scoring formula.
And
so
only
yours will look different. Go ahead.
only admins have access to that?
No, I don't think so. Let's find out. I'm over here in Corn Belt now. Nope, everybody's got it. That's new, by the way. That obviously that didn't exist until about the week before conference, because we never had any history until the week before conference, when we closed last year and started the new one. And that's the point where, you know, this active score got reset and all that good stuff. And then next year, there'll be a set for 2024, and then maybe somewhere down the road we'll replace it where you enter the year. But at least for now, it'll be separate queries for a while. That was a good question. Thanks, Steve. So yeah, you can see what you got credit for last year. Which is new, by the way. It used to be that the chapter president would submit the scorecard and nobody else ever really saw the scorecard, at least in my chapters. Now it's much more transparent. If stuff's missing, the rest of the chapter can see it now and maybe nicely remind the president or somebody to enter it. A little self-policing, a little peer pressure is a good thing sometimes.
So we've got several who are on the session who haven't asked questions or put them in the chat. So please feel free if you've got, there is no dumb question because we're all still learning. So if you came here with a question that's not been answered, please feel free to either speak it or you can chat it. Or if something comes up later and you just want to reach out, that's fine.
Yes, you can always do that. You can always reach out.
Would you go over how to add a new officer?
Actually, that's what Matt is doing right now in the other room. But let's.
My computer goes in and out.
Gotcha.
I tried.
So, are you an administrator, Betty?
Yes.
You know? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So on the officers tab under your chapter. Oh, sorry. I got to get. I'm in Corn Belt. On the officers tab in the chapter where you're an administrator, which would be yours. So this is your list of current officers. By the way, there's a tab, officer history. Don't delete your old records when people leave, just end date those records and you'll be able to maintain a history over time under the history tab. But up here in the right corner, it says manage chapter officers. And this is the screen we had up a little while ago. And so this is a list of who's currently an officer. And in this case, you want to add a member position. So I will actually go all the way through and do this. I talked about my wife earlier. I'm going to make my wife an officer, and then I'm going to kick her out. Okay. So Lori Turilli, what do we want to make Lori? Let's make her, what should we make Lori? Oh, Sergeant at Arms. She'll love that job. Okay. And I'm going to go back and pretend that it happened on the first day of the year. And then this is just best practice. Don't end date it because she's probably going to be Sergeant at Arms next year and the year after and the year after, things like that. Put her in on her start date, use 12/31/2099 as I call it end of time. Okay. So put her in until the end of time, and then she should pop up on the list. There she is down here in the bottom till the end of time. Then when her term expires, let's assume that she was only sergeant at arms for just a little while, till the beginning of the month, 8/1. Okay, save and close. You'll see Lori drop off this list, and she's gone. But because I didn't delete her, and whoops, sorry. What did I do? Let's try it again. Sorry, here's the officer history tab. Oh, I have to refresh it. There's Lori Turilli in my history. So she's no longer a current officer, but I can tell that she was an officer for a period of time.
But how can we mute, how can we delete somebody if we actually, like on mine, we have 2 duplicate entries and I need to delete
Actually,
one. There's not a delete button.
There is not a delete button. Hang on a second. Let me edit Lori because I do want to delete her. The best way to delete in this case is, and this is a data thing. Notice I predated that. She'll never show up as ever being active, but she will stay in the list.
If it's a history preservation thing, Donna, you can certainly reach out to us and we delete that person for you.
Okay.
It's just it's a safety precaution. Somebody accidentally deletes all the history.
Which is a good thing.
That's right. Thank you, Jessica. The system does give you the ability to do that. We turned it off.
Okay.
That said, well, that should be right now. Come on. Oh, fine. Just cancel. I didn't do anything anyhow. I'll have to. I'm gonna scribble a note to myself. Because I told you we're rebuilding that dialogue to add chapters. I want to make sure I deal with delete correctly. It's been weeks since I looked at it. Yeah. I'll have to go in that from the staff site. By the way, I mentioned the staff site. Okay, the hub is a window into our membership data. It is the same data that the folks in the ARC see. They have a different window. They can do more things, but it's the same data. It's not a copy. It's nothing's duplicated. It's just a different way to look at the same stuff. So when they make a change back at the ARC, it's reflected immediately in the hub. There's no delay and no replication of data or anything like that. You're looking at the same stuff. I'll kick my wife out. I'm sorry. Betty, did that answer your question about officers? I didn't close the loop there.
I think so. I have tried that, but I must be missing something.
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing where it gave me all the list of officers.
Okay, so I mean, this manage works either from the current tab or the officer history tab. So, and that'll be under. By the way, sometimes just like it did, you scroll down here and you lose the ability. You forget to, you kind of lose your navigation. You scroll to the top. Also, that's what the little arrow over here is for. By the way, if you see the little arrow, you can jump to the top anytime. Okay, and that works on PCs. I don't know if the same thing works on phones and iPads.
Yeah, I work on PC.
Does, but I don't spend any time on the phone other than to prove it works once in a while. So I can't tell you much about its behavior. By the way, the phone, because the phone doesn't do columns, I'm going to widen this just a shade. The phone doesn't do columns very well because it's just too narrow. What the phone does is stack them. It'll show you the first column, the second column, and the third column. And a tablet probably does the same thing. Okay. So all of the same information is there, but it might be hiding and be a little, little farther down sometimes when you're looking for it on one of the other devices. I've got this gigantic, really big monitor that I like, and so I never spend time on little screens if I don't have to. But that's me, I'm old. Carmela's confusing me. I keep seeing her moving her mouth, but she's not talking to us.
I see Renee has her hand up. Renee, do you still need help?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if is there a listing somewhere of things that are automatically added for us to the hub? And is that maybe in that document you posted earlier? And that way we know everything else is something we're responsible for?
The document she's talking about, Donna, is the one that Donna Hitchton is the one you created. You don't remember it having anything like that, do you?
It doesn't, but you know, nobody's
That's
ever
a
really
good,
asked that question that way before.
yeah.
And so,
it does have stuff like at the very last, I'm looking at other points calculated automatically. Sponsor national wish list Amtrak over 90 days. Says it's 5 points, and on the far right says automatically calculated.
Okay,
Contributions to program giving automatic, all that kind of stuff. New chapter building automatically. Membership, 10 points per new member entered each quarter. And then it has the 1 point for 10% of your members retained and 2 points for new or renewed Friends members. So yeah, there's actually quite a bit. All the blue chip, everything on there says it's automatic.
Thank you, ma'am. I knew you'd
welcome.
remember offhand.
yeah, I'm wondering.
Sometimes I still have to look.
Yeah, well, sometimes I still have to look, so don't. That's not a surprise. Your change you sent me yesterday, I got myself really confused because it's been so long since I looked at some of the scoring stuff. I convinced myself about 2 hours ago that this could never have worked, and then it works beautifully. You have those moments every once in a while.
Yeah, and we voted on those changes a long time ago, but
yeah, well, but I think
you needed to wait until the year was over.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
And so we'll get them in the next few days. This is the big change. And so what Donna's talking about is right here. Used to be 10 points if you provided assistance in the quarter. That is changing to 5 points every time you do it. So you have an opportunity to stack up some points there.
Mm-hmm.
And Donna, I had forgotten that we went from 10 points per quarter to as much as you can eat.
Yeah.
And that's why how did this ever work?
And then the community services changed too. The same
community service thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know how we're going to write this up and make sure people know and how you're going to do queries on it. But you can do as much community service as you want, but say you're doing Red Cross, you can only count them once a quarter, but you can count Red Cross this quarter, and you can give to 10 other entities within every month of that quarter. But it's going to be hard. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Well, the only thing I've got is a name. The problem we got is you have to spell Red Cross the same way every time.
So, well,
if you used to do Red Cross Hawaii, Red Cross Palm Springs, Red Cross something else, they'll be separate charities. Because we can't, I can't tell them apart.
And that's probably going to be good enough.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I think it's your chapter. It's one of the Great Plains chapters. I was looking at that today. That's that comment in my text message I sent you. Somebody did something for some women's organization, and they put the apostrophe in women's once and left it out once. And that's two separate organizations. I can't tell them apart.
I didn't see anything from you on that. Okay.
I haven't sent it to you yet. That was the text message. I told you, remember I said I was going to give that stuff to Matt and have him bring it to the board? That's what I just wanted to share.
Okay.
But you brought it up. That's the I won't say the downside, but it's a limitation of what we can do.
So did you show them the document that's stored in the hub that they can actually print out?
I did not.
And Larry,
very helpful.
Larry, on this page, where did you find this one under scoring?
Yeah,
and then scoring component.
Scoring
okay.
And scoring components. Got it?
Thank you.
No problem. So Don, I've been so long. Let's see if we can find it. So somewhere under resources.
I linked it in the chat. It's at the very bottom, Larry.
Yeah, it's very bottom. There you go, right there.
Hub activity planning guide. Yeah, I want to find it the right way because oh, got so notice when I clicked on that, it opened a new tab, and then when I click on view guide, there it is. So this is where all the points come from.
Kind of helps plan your year out if you want it. You know, us old school people that used to scorecard. That's how we kind of planned our year. This kind of is laid out the same way.
Yeah.
I had a question about this earlier, but note that once you get here, you can just save it. You can just download it, save it, and print it out, or distribute it to the rest of your membership, and make sure everybody's on the same page for what you want to do to plan a successful year.
Yep. Click download and save it wherever you save things. I'm going to cancel. I've got 3 copies already.
So we are at an hour 15. What other burning questions do we have? Does anybody want to do a breakout session to specifically look at something that you want a little more hands-on help with figuring out how to report?
We want to
I think
show
that's a no.
how comfortable are you with maybe showing off some of our new stuff like communities and or the wish list? Those are some.
I did show the activity too briefly. So I forget who, somebody asked me a question about it, and it said, they're just, why do I have to scroll all the way to the right? And I said, well, in a few weeks, maybe you won't have to. So we did talk about that. Communities, just for grins, how many people, or is there anybody here who saw our presentation at National? Only 1 or 2. Good, because then I won't, the rest of you guys, this is a refresher course. One of the things that we committed to do at National, well, the system has a capability that they call communities, okay? So we have to figure out exactly how we want to use that, but there's a couple of communities that we want to create, and people can then become members of those communities. So let me go back to my homepage. Notice down here, there's a My Communities section, and I'm a member of 2 communities. That's a Hub Development Community, and that's a place for Matt and I and Jessica to chat. That's a really small community. I'm also a member of the National Board community, and the National Board isn't using this yet, but we're still playing with it. We committed to create a couple more. Well, we could the one that a lot of you, I think, will be excited about is a part swap community. So you got an Amtrak, and I got a set of pedals, or I need a set of pedals, and whatnot. We don't think that'll work very well at the national level, and so we're going to pilot that in Central Region. So sometime the next month or 2 or 3, I'm going to build a community for Central Region folks to talk to each other and swap parts. So a community can have a bunch of things. It can have a bunch of a shared folder, kind of like SharePoint, if you're familiar with that, or Dropbox, or sort of a space. It can also have blogs. On the part swap community, I don't think the shared folder makes any sense, but the blog would definitely make sense. The thing about a community is somebody has to be in charge. Somebody's got to proctor or monitor that, right? Clean up the garbage, maybe clean up the language, those sorts of things. And so we have identified 2 people to do that in Central Region. Creating community is actually pretty easy to do. I'm very reluctant to do it, or I won't do it, frankly, until we get somebody to proctor or monitor it other than the ARC. I'm not trying not to create new work for the ARC, because they've already got as much as they can handle. So it's, and they don't, and Jessica, for example, would need to be involved in a Central Region part swap anyhow. So we'll get somebody out of Central Region to do that. Now it'll be a Central Region part swap community. We'll eventually create one for Great Plains and one for Southern, and and on down the list. We won't restrict those, okay? So that if we don't have we got very few central people on the phone right now. If they wanted to join that central region part swap list, they could. Just know that whenever somebody posts something in there, you're going to get an email. Do you want an email every time somebody anywhere in the country posts something in any one of these lists? So you're probably going to want to stay close. Besides, you're not going to drive from Maine to Texas to pick up a set of pedals, right? So those sorts of things. So we're going to do, at least our plan is to do a part swap community per region with somebody in that region owning it. So if there's any regional directors on the phone, and be thinking about who's the person in your area to do that. You've got months, don't rush. And don't send me any names today because I'm not going to do it outside of Central. And we'll use Central to figure out what they need. There's, like I said, there's 3 or 4 capabilities in a community, and we'll let the Central folks tell us what works best. And then once we figure that out, we'll clone it out to the other 6 regions. Change the number of regions on me. I have to think about that.
Larry, I have a question because I entered in the national board a discussion months and months and months ago. So is there a way that people that are part of that community can see that something's been posted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because nobody knew, so nobody answered me.
I don't think anybody else is following the community, and so there you go.
We've got a couple of things under the hub development one.
Blogs, discussions.
It's a little bit of a mess, but yeah,
Is this what you posted? Let's try this form in a community. There you go.
Yeah.
I saw it when you posted it.
But nobody else can unless you go into it, huh?
Because you have to follow the community.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Right. And so, so we haven't announced it and turned it loose for everybody. It's available to them, but you have to follow it. And so when we roll these out, we're going to have to roll out some community education as well. Right.
Yeah.
It's more than just the technical changes. You got to put some how-to stuff. By the way, this is a full-blown, there's a homepage, there's blogs, there's discussion items, there's resource libraries, there's wikis, and then there's a list of people in it. I can hide pieces of these for the different communities, and we will hide, like on the part swap, it'll either be a discussion item or a wikis only. Everything else will be gone. There's no reason to have 3 different things for that. And we'll do different mixes of those things for the different groups. Did that answer your question?
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. Matt, you mentioned something else that I forgot that you wanted to talk about. Oh, wish list. All right, I'm on the staff site. You guys will never see this screen. This is the staff site screen. But we have, I'm going to go here first. We have created a set of web pages to manage the wish list. Oh, sorry. I'm not signed on as me. I'm signed on as a thing called manager. Matt, are you let's do this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm logged in as myself also.
Yeah, let me try this. Get way over here in the right. Wish list, sign in. Let's see if I sign in, what it looks like. This is me. Okay, so this looks similar to so the wish list site is going to be basically a standalone site. Okay, now as an AMBUC, I already have an ID in our system, because remember, it's all one big pot of data. I have a presence already, and so I'm seeing basically my contact record where I could do things. But notice up here, there's a button that says wish list. So I'm going to open up. I'm going to use another tab. And this is a list of, these are there's some test data in here, with like automation test, right? But these are real wish list requests that are out there in the system right now. Okay. Some of these, that's a fake one too, but
We had some at the couple at the bottom that actually did include pictures.
Yeah, there we go. And that's me on a bike, or that's my request. This is a real one. Okay, so we're still, like I said, this is still in a work in progress. Okay, but we have, so this is what is going to be available to the public. So I already have a presence, but if you have a therapist, again, we're trying to do as much self-service as we can. So eventually, therapist is going to be able to come in here, create an entry for themselves, okay, and then click here and add a new wish list request, and then enter information about a rider and the bike that person's going to go on. I'm going to click over and go look at my wish list request. So again, this is not real. I'm not out for a bike, but you got to have test data to play, right? And so Larry loves to ride his new Amtrak. My bike is going to cost almost $1,000. Somewhere somebody's raised $502. And so this is kind of information that's going to be available. This is broken, but this out there, the $502 came from these three sources. Augusta made a couple of donations, and Jessica gave me $100. Fake money right now, but that's where we're at. Okay, and then all of the wish list forms that we are used to using down here, they'll be able to add information about a rider, add information about a guardian, because that's not always the same person. A child probably has a guardian, and then add information about the therapist as well. You'll also be able to see back on your own record. Let me go back to my own record. The list or the request you're associated with. So I'm in this case as a writer of this request. That's the only one there. But if I was a therapist, I might be the therapist for 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 different requests, and they would all be listed there. And then the therapist would be able to jump in and look at any of those. So in the same way that you administrators are administrators of your chapter, the therapist is essentially the administrator of that request and can add contact information, add writers and guardians to that request. And so this is still a work in progress. It's not done, but you can, like, for example, this is where you'll click, but that's not live yet. Okay, but that's eventually that'll be alive and a way to create a new request. Okay, so that's coming. I don't know, it's coming.
I like that one.
I won't commit to a date yet, but that's where we're at. So those are some of the things that this system that we're built on has allowed us to do. And again, it's just one set of data. It's not today. All this stuff is managed in different places, so that if I was on a wish, so I didn't want to do that. Sorry, I pointed, but I only have one address. But when we have 3 systems, somebody calls national and says, change my address, change my email address, change my phone number. We change it every place we can think of, but it doesn't get changed in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th system. We're getting to one system. So there's only one Larry. That's enough. And by the way, from here, if I change my address here, it'll change everywhere else too, because it's only me. Or it's the only me. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything, so I'm gonna get off here. Thanks for putting up with us and answering all the questions.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it. You guys were very civil. No.
Oh, you didn't have me in a breakout room with me, Larry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was there, Larry. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys later. All right.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you. Thanks
See you,
everybody
Chuck.
for getting on, and Matt,
Yeah.
Larry, you guys did a great job. This
Thank
really
you.
came along good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Like I said, it was unscripted, but hopefully we got at least your burning questions answered.
Yep, I think I answered all the questions that got asked of me in the breakout room.
Great. All right. So
Great.
maybe we'll do this again
Thank you.
in 8, 10, 12 months.